Where did you go to college? And more to the point, for many young people now awaiting decisions, where do you hope to go? And how much do you have riding on it?
Never enough. Achievement culture becomes toxic.
Students feeling overwhelmed by the weight of college acceptance.
Even the mad in high school, I mean, you see rates of depression and medication.
College acceptance has become more than a milestone. It's a measure of identity, success, and self-worth for millions of high school students. With competition at an all-time high, the race to get into elite universities is pushing students to their limits. But behind the test scores, packed resumes, and glowing recommendation letters is the truth we often ignore: the toll it takes on mental health. This is a story of the price students are paying for a chance at the top. With college admissions more competitive than ever, today's students are under immense pressure to do more and be more. The Common App, used by hundreds of colleges nationwide, reported a 30% increase in total applications between 2019 and 2022, according to Business Insider. As more students flood the system, top colleges are accepting fewer of them. Harvard's acceptance rate, for example, dropped to just 3.19% in 2022. In response, students feel they have to fill every line on their application, joining multiple clubs, taking on leadership roles, playing sports, and volunteering, all while maintaining near-perfect grades. What used to be impressive is now considered average. The college resume has become a checklist of pressure points, and for many, the pursuit of admission is becoming a full-time job. To understand the real impact of the college admissions process, I spoke with Nina Federici, a highly involved senior at Carmel High School, balancing rigorous academics, extracurriculars, and the pressure to succeed. Her story reflects what so many students across the country are struggling with.
Hi Nina, thank you so much for joining me today. To start off, can you walk me through all of the extracurriculars you've been involved in, along with your rigorous academic schedule throughout high school?
Yeah, of course. So some of the extracurriculars I've been involved in throughout high school are Carmel Dance Marathon. I was a house member my freshman year and then did cabinet for 3 years. I was the Marathon Relations Chair last year, and I'm Speaker of the House. I'm also part of GCOM for 2 years. I've been in mock trial for 4 years, DECA for 3 years, National Honor Society. I'm in Bollywood Indian dance outside of school. I work as a camp counselor. This is my 5th year at a theater program, and I used to do musical theater my freshman and sophomore year, as well as I'm a cross-country runner, and I formerly was a track runner as well.
Wow, that is quite the resume and very impressive.
Do you want me to go through my academics?
Yeah, go for it. What are some APs or just any challenging classes you've taken in high school?
Yeah, so I actually just counted for my AP capstone diploma, but I've taken 7 AP classes, and I think I've taken 4 or 5 honors classes. I took AP seminar, research, Euro, Calc, statistics, government, and one other, but I can't remember even what it is right now. But I've taken IBs. I've kind of just taken a different assortment of classes throughout high school.
Yeah, very diverse, very impressive. So now, after all that, do you think the pressure to get into top colleges has impacted your mental health? And have there been moments where it has felt like too much?
I think thinking about college and trying to get into some of those colleges that have lower acceptance rates definitely stressed me out, which affected my mental health. Sometimes I feel like it pushed me to do activities or just do things when I was really tired, or I really didn't have the energy to, because I just put so much pressure on myself to get to these places, or felt like I had to get into college.
Thank you. And now the last question. Do you think the college admissions process encourages students to be their authentic selves, or more like a version of what colleges want to see?
I would say there's a 50-50 balance. For me, I got to pursue things I really loved, like Carmel Dance Marathon, which is obviously really impressive to colleges, but I also feel like I did activities in high school that I wasn't necessarily wanting to do or passionate about, because I felt it looked better on my resume and I could talk about it when I applied to colleges. So I think they definitely want to see who you are, but it pushed me to do certain activities that didn't really add value to my life, that I felt like I had to do to get into college.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
In my interview with senior Nina Federici, she opened up about the emotional toll of the college admissions process. While she was involved in so many clubs, sports, and volunteer work, She even admitted that maybe some of her commitments aren't things she's passionate about, but rather just resume builders. She's not alone. Students across the country are chasing perfection, not because they want to, but because they feel they have to. For many, it becomes more than pressure, it becomes exhaustion, it becomes anxiety, it becomes burnout. According to a recent study by the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy, 27% of teens are actively struggling with burnout. Many aren't engaging in basic self-care, getting enough sleep, exercising, going outside, or simply having fun. The CDC reports that 77% of high school students don't get enough sleep despite the recommended 8 to 10 hours per night. And 68% of teens say they feel pressured to get good grades. On top of that, 1 in 3 teens believe they're expected to pad their applications with extracurriculars, regardless of whether those activities bring them joy or fulfillment. This generation of students is more accomplished, more involved, and more anxious than ever before. And if we don't stop to ask why, it only gets worse. But the path forward does not have to be lonely. Schools and educators are starting to take notice. That's why I spoke with teacher Joshua Miller, who sees pressure firsthand and is working with students and making them aware of resources, support, and the much-needed reality of the college admissions process.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. To start, could you please introduce yourself, state what you teach, and how long you've been teaching?
Yeah, my name is Josh Miller. I teach AP Government and Economics at Carmel High School for seniors, and this is my 10th year teaching.
What role do you think schools should play in supporting students' mental health during this high-stress time?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we have, in a bigger school like ours, you have a ton of resources, right? There's a ton of resources down in counseling. We have a college and career counselor that can help with a lot of the organization part. I think that would be one aspect of just making sure, hey, it's clear what deadlines you have, right? On an individual level, hey, here's the 5 colleges I'm applying to. That organization level, and I think there's resources out there to help, and I think that, particularly our school does a good job of that. I'm assuming most schools have some sort of person that is in charge of that. From another standpoint, I think that would help with the mental health challenges, right? You're not just waiting till the last minute. Making it a point to, I know some students really get very stressed about making sure they have their recommendations in and not waiting till the last minute. And, making sure, again, that's another thing with the deadlines. And I think that's probably a good chunk of that stress at the beginning part, and then the second part is waiting, right? And I don't know how you manage that. I remember doing it. I think everybody's done it. It's just trying to, I guess, keep busy and keep your expectations realistic and again, difficult decisions and difficult things that you're talking about here. But I think there are ways that the school can do so, and I think that's just, again, by providing the resources and making those resources known. Again, I think high schoolers particularly get caught up in what's happening in their day-to-day life and might not know some of these resources are there. So making sure that, a student also explores those and making sure that the school is actually broadcasting and making sure that students know they have these outlets.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the key takeaways from my interview with Mr. Miller was just how critical it is for students to have access to mental health resources, and more importantly, to know that those resources exist. It can be emphasized that sometimes simply being aware of where to go for help can be the difference between feeling supported versus alone. As stated, Mr. Miller teaches at Carmel High School, one of the largest public high schools in the country. While Carmel is fortunate enough to have full-time counselors and access to mental health services, it needs to be pointed out that not every school is this lucky. Many schools across the country simply don't have the funding or staffing to offer students the same kind of support. And that's where the problem becomes national. Just over half of U.S. schools have a full-time counselor. Even fewer can afford psychologists or social workers. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, only 55% of public schools offer diagnostic mental health assessments. Even more concerning, just 42% offer any kind of treatment like counseling or therapy. That means only about 1/3 of schools in the country are doing proactive outreach, screening all students, not just those who ask for help. And for students facing real mental health struggles, this silence can turn into something much more dangerous. Throughout this documentary, we've seen how the race to get into top colleges has created an environment filled with pressure, competition, and expectation. Students are pushed to stack their schedules with AP classes, leadership roles, and countless extracurriculars, many of which offer little personal value beyond a line on a college resume. The result, burnout. And while some schools like Carmel High School offer access to counselors and mental health professionals, this level of support is far from universal. But there are ways forward. Experts from the Mayo Clinic and the American Psychological Association recommend regular physical activity, meaningful sleep, and stepping away from screens and academics to recharge. The JED Foundation encourages students to focus on what truly matters, finding a college that fits them, not just one with a prestigious or famous name. Most importantly, talking about mental health, reaching out for help, and knowing you're not alone can break the silence surrounding this pressure. Because in the end, no acceptance letter is worth sacrificing your health or your happiness.